Hello, welcome to the Eligibility and Priority webinar for the 21st Century Community Learning Center's grant application. The State Department of Education, or commonly known as SDE, is hosting the webinar, and I, Andrew Fletcher, the 21st CCLC and Student Engagement Coordinator, will facilitate today's webinar. The SDE is recording this webinar to upload to the 21st CCLC webpage. If you have any questions, then please type them into the chat box. The SDE will email all questions and responses to those registered for this webinar as FAQs. Furthermore, the SDE will post the FAQs to the 21st CCLC webpage. Our objective today is to ensure all participants understand the eligibility and priority requirements, as well as the process and timeline for the grant application. Today's agenda will focus on 4 main points. First, an introduction and overview of the 21st Century Community Learning Centers. Second, eligibility requirements to apply for the grant. Third, competitive priorities. And fourth, the application process and timeline. The 21st CCLC program is a federal program authorized under Title IV, Part P of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, as amended by the Every Student Succeeds Act, or commonly known as ESSA. ESSA replaces and improves legislation passed by No Child Left Behind Act in 2001. ESSA does bring more flexibility, change, and improvements to the 21st CCLC program. Therefore, if you are familiar with the 21st CCLC program, you will discover that some requirements have changed. The SDE pushes funds received from the U.S. Department of Education out to eligible entities via a competitive grant application process. Typically, we have the resources to fund approximately 35% of applications received. The SDE has approximately $1.5 million available for 21st CCLC applications. Applications are 5-year grants, which typically range from $50,000 to $170,000 each year. The purpose of the 21st CCLC program is to provide out-of-school time activities to students that primarily may be at risk for academic failure, dropping out of school, involvement in criminal or delinquent activities, or who lack strong positive role models. Furthermore, the purpose of the 21st CCLC program is threefold. 1, provide opportunities for academic enrichment, including providing tutorial services to help students, particularly students who attend low-performing schools, to meet the challenging state academic standards. 2, offer students a broad array of additional services, programs, and activities, such as youth development activities, service learning, nutrition and health education, drug and violence prevention programs, counseling programs, art, music, physical fitness and wellness programs, technology education programs, financial literacy programs, environmental literacy programs, mathematics, science, and career and technical programs. Services that are designed to reinforce and complement the regular academic program of participating students. And third, offer families of students served by the community learning centers opportunities for active and meaningful engagement in their children's education, including opportunities for literacy and related educational development. The SDE has created application guidance and supporting documents to assist eligible entities in the application process. Applicants can find the documents on the 21st CCLC webpage under Resource Files, Grant Application, and then Supporting Documents. All applications submitted enter a 2-step review process. First, the SDE reviews all applications for completeness and eligibility. Second, the SDE selects peer reviewers to review and rate the applications based on an established scoring rubric to determine the extent to which the application meets the application requirements. The SDE selects peer reviewers based on their expertise in providing effective academic, enrichment, youth development, and related services to children, and does not include any applicant or representative of an applicant that has submitted an application. In order to be eligible to apply, the entity must be a local educational agency, such as a school district or charter school, a community-based organization, an Indian tribe, or tribal organization, as such terms are defined in Section 4 of the Indian Self-Determination and Education Act, 25 U.S.C. 450B, another public or private entity, or a consortium of two or more such agencies, organizations, or entities. It is also important to note the 21st CCLC program is a reimbursement-only program, which means that an entity must have sufficient funds for program operations with the understanding that reimbursements may take up to 2 months. In awarding subgrants under Title IV Part B, the SDE shall give priorities to applications that are targeting services to students who primarily attend schools with high need and lack of available resources. Therefore, the SDE has established 10 competitive priorities to ensure applicants target those students in schools with the most need. Furthermore, applications must meet at least 50 competitive priority points to enter the peer review process. Here are the 10 competitive priorities. I will say each one, and then we will provide an example of each priority. 1. The school identified on the 2016-17 Priority and Focus School List. 2. The school is Title I, Part A, Schoolwide eligible. 3. Application is submitted jointly between not less than one local educational agency receiving funds under Title I, Part A, and another entity. 4. School is mid-high poverty, which the building is 50% or higher of free and reduced lunch. 5. The school is high poverty, which is the building is 75% or higher of free and reduced lunch. 6. The school is located in a county below the state average for median household income. 7. The school proposes to offer 40 hours of summer learning. 8. The school is not receiving 21st CCLC grant funds for the 2018-19 school year. 9. The district is not receiving 21st CCLC grant funds for the 2018-19 school year. And 10. The school has not received a 21st CCLC grant since 2010. As I stated, I will now provide an example of each competitive priority. I will use Wendell School District as an example for competitive priority. So, I will use 3 target schools: Wendell Elementary, Middle, and High School. Competitive priority 1 is worth 5 points. At least one target school is implementing comprehensive support and improvement activities or targeted support and improvement activities under Section 1111D. The demonstrated evidence for this priority is the Idaho Priority and Focus School List. As you can see on the slides, all the demonstrated evidence is linked there with a blue underline. Click that button. Again, We use the Idaho Priority and Focus School List of 2016-2017, which is on the supporting documents on the 21st CCLC webpage. We scroll through the list, and we see that Wendell Middle School is on the list. Therefore, the application would receive 5 points for having one school on the list. Competitive Priority 2 is worth 15 points. At least 75% of the target schools are school-wide eligible to receive funds under Title I, Part A. The demonstrated evidence for this priority is the Title I School Status 2016-2017, according to the CSFGA. Using the Title I School Status, we look under School Program Type. We scroll through the list and we find our Wendell target schools. 2 schools are school-wide and 1 is not. Therefore, the application would not receive the school-wide priority because at least 75% of schools must be school-wide. Competitive Priority 3 is worth 20 points. Application is submitted jointly by not less than 1 local educational agency receiving funds under Title I, Part A, and another eligible entity. This is a partnership application. The demonstrated evidence for this priority is a signed memorandum of understanding between the 2 partnerships. We do have a template for an MOU on the web page. We will also provide more guidance about partnerships in the Request for Application workshops. Competitive Priority 4 is worth 10 points. At least 75% of the target schools are mid-high poverty, which means 50% or more of the building qualify as low income. The demonstrated evidence for this priority is the lunch eligibility data, which is through the Child Nutrition Program. This data is as of April 3rd, 2017. Using the lunch eligibility data, we look under percentage of low income. We scroll through the list and we find our Wendell target schools. 2 schools are CEP and 1 is 44%. CEP means Community Eligible Provision, which we view as 100%. Therefore, 2 schools meet the requirement, but 1 does not. Therefore, the application would not receive the mid-high poverty priority because at least 75% of the schools need to be above 50%. Competitive Priority 5 is worth 5 points. At least 50% of the target schools are high poverty, which means 75% or more of the building qualify as low income. The demonstrated evidence for this priority is the lunch eligibility data, which is through the Child Nutrition Program. This data is as of April 3rd, 2017. Again, using the lunch eligibility data, we look under percentage of low income. We scroll through the list and we find our Wendell target schools. We see 2 schools meet the requirement, but 1 does not. Therefore, the application would receive the high poverty priority because at least 50% of schools are above 75%. Competitive Priority 6 is worth 5 points. At least 1 target school is located in a county below the state average for median household income. The demonstrated evidence for this priority is the U.S. Census Bureau 2015 median household income. Using the median household income by county, we scroll through the list and we find our Wendell, which is in Gooding County. Gooding County is below. Therefore, the application would receive the median household income point. Competitive Priority 7 is worth 10 points. At least 50% of the target schools propose 40 hours of summer learning. The demonstrated evidence for this priority is the center operating schedule and objective, which is within the grant application. In this example, the application decided that the middle and high schools would operate a summer program, but the elementary would not. Therefore, the application would receive the summer learning priority because at least 50% of schools propose 40 hours of summer learning. Competitive Priority 8 is worth 5 points. 100% of the target schools are not receiving 21st CCLC grant funds for 2018-2019. The demonstrated evidence for this priority is the current or returning grantee list. Using the current or grantee list, we look at the column with 2018-2019. This shows all those schools who are receiving funds next year. We scroll through the list and we find our Wendell target schools. Therefore, one school is not on the list, but 2 schools are on the list. Therefore, the application would not receive the 2018-19 grant funds criteria. Competitive Priority 9 is worth 5 points. 100% of the target schools within a district are not receiving 21st CCLC funds for the 2018-2019. This is different than the previous priority because we are assessing if any of the school buildings within a district are receiving grant funds for the 2018-2019 school year. The demonstrated evidence for this priority is the population served by district. Using the population served by district, we look at the column with 2018-2019. This shows all those districts who are receiving funds next year. We scroll through the list and we find our Wendell target schools. Therefore, the application would not receive the 2018-19 grant funds criteria. The final competitive priority is worth 10 points. 100% of the target schools have not received a 21st CCLC grant within the last 8 years, so from 2010 to 2017. However, applications do have the opportunity to make up these 10 points by demonstrating previous program performance. The demonstrated evidence for this priority is the current or returning grantee list. Using the current or returning grantee list, we look at the column with 2010 to 2017. This shows all those schools who have received funds within the last 8 years. We scroll through the list and we find Wendell target schools. Therefore, one school is not on the list, but 2 schools are on the list. Therefore, the application would not receive the novice grantee point. Now, we look at the 3 target schools in each of the competitive priority categories. We can see if the overall application met the requirements. We tally up the entire yeses in the met section, which gives us a total of 45 points. Therefore, the application is not submitted into the peer review process because it does not meet the minimum 50-point requirement. However, The Wendell application could decide to drop the elementary and middle schools because they are already receiving a previous grant. Therefore, it would meet the 50-point threshold to enter into the peer review process. Please be aware of the application timeline. Throughout November, the SDE will be doing various workshops to help eligible entities understand the requirements and expectations of the grant. We request that all letter of intent be submitted by December 1st to ensure adequate time to gain access to the online application. All letters should be submitted to Camille McCashlin, whose contact information is provided at the end of this presentation. The deadline for the application submission is January 26, 2018 at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We highly encourage applicants to submit prior to this deadline because applications will not be received after this deadline. The grant awards will be announced in April and funding will begin July 1st. Here is the request for application schedule. You can register for an RFA workshop on the 21st CCLC webpage. Thank you. If you have any questions or concerns, then please contact either myself, Andrew Fletcher, or Camille McCashlin. Have a great day.